This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Family struggles with Jamaicans' murder in Trinidad and Tobago. The family of a 28-year-old Jamaican who was killed in Trinidad and Tobago over a week ago is not ruling out the possibility that his death could have been related to a deadly gang war in his Bentley Lane, Kingston community, although they have not been getting much information on his killing. Akeem Thompson was shot dead last week Thursday night in Diego Martin in the Twin Island Republic. He had reportedly gone to visit a friend in the Four Roads area when on leaving the house he was shot several times. A medical officer declared him dead at the scene. His mother, Andrea Nation, told the news that she is struggling to get any information on the murder that may lead to closure, having lost another son 9 years ago in Jamaica. Yesterday, she was not ruling out the possibility that the deadly gang war in Bentley Lane, which has claimed many lives, could be at play offshore. Not ruling out anything, not saying is it and not saying is not it. That's why I want to know, Nation told the news. Them have link over there in Trinidad, but we don't know, another relative said. Akeem's brother, Nigel Thompson, of a Bentley Lane address, was shot dead by police along with Carl Nation, a relative on neighboring Moore Street on August 25, 2012, as they were reportedly heading home from a party. Both were 18 years old. Details of that shooting were not released. However, the police say a Taurus 9mm with the serial number erased and 3 9mm rounds were seized during that incident. Andrea said that she wanted a different life for Akeem and encouraged him to migrate to Trinidad and Tobago. The plan was to move him away from the violence. He was working at a supermarket over there, she said, in a softer tone with tears streaming down. A cousin told the news that Akeem was all about his 2-year-old son and his job, which he has maintained since leaving Jamaica. He has a baby there. He wanted to get married and come to Jamaica, come look for us and go back, she said. Akeem's older sister said that the family was not taking his death easy. We're taking it hard, we're trying to hold up, she said, as a weeping Andrea was being consoled by family and friends. Akeem is everything good. Him no keep friends, him no party, just from work to home. He's always smiling, another relative said. According to the family, Akeem did not mention any disputes he was having with anyone in Trinidad and Tobago, although since his death, they have been hearing reports of possible tension with some in-laws. The family is frustrated that credible or official information is not forthcoming, as they are finding it hard to dialogue with investigators in another country. They are making plans to fly his body to Jamaica for burial. Half the public sector accepts a 4% wage increase. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service and 11 members of the Joint Confederation of Trade Unions inked a 1-year wage agreement yesterday on behalf of some 50,000 public sector workers. Yesterday's signing represents about 50% of the entire complement of the public sector. As part of the deal, the workers would receive a 4% increase in wages and certain allowances. Additionally, retroactive payments will be effective from April 1 this year. Helen Davis White, president of the JCTU, told the news yesterday that the arrangement also allowed for workers earning up to $1.5 million a year to get a one-off payment of $40,000. We also have agreements in relation to the government's willingness to assist in the development of lands by making contributions to the infrastructural works and so on, she said. Further, Davis White said that agreement would also see the government making more funds available for training and the development of public sector workers through scholarships and grants. Finance and the Public Sector Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, reached out to the other bargaining groups in the public sector, inviting them to the table to settle negotiations in time for the government to make payments by the end of December. If we can reach agreements with the remaining groups, this is going to be very important for us to achieve our goal to begin the implementation of the compensation review in April 2022. He cautioned that if payments were carried over for this year into the next fiscal year, it would compromise the government's ability to begin the implementation of the compensation review exercise. emphasizing the need for the ministry to embark on the compensation review beginning early April 2022. Clark said that the government was constrained in providing quality services to Jamaicans if the public sector was unable to retain talent owing to its compensation system. We will do what is necessary to begin the implementation in April, but the caveat is that we cannot afford to carry the payment for this year into next year because it will obviously compromise what we can do next year. Bustamante Industrial Trade Union President General Senator Cavan Gill described the agreement as a holding position, noting that the more important aspect of the negotiations related to the highly anticipated public sector compensation review that was commissioned by the government. He noted that the process looked at settling appropriate pay scales and pay rates and evaluating the roles within the public sector so that it can inform the new type of compensation structure that is relevant for the value and the worth of the jobs within the public sector. Gill said this one-year settlement was a temporary measure aimed at alleviating the economic burden on public sector workers. The unions that signed the wage agreement with the Ministry of Finance at its National Heroes Circle offices yesterday are the BITU, Jamaica Civil Service Association, the National Workers Union, the University and Allied Workers Union, Trade Union Congress, Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, Jamaica Union of Public Officers and Public Employees, United Union of Jamaica, Jamaica Workers Union, Union of Technical Administrative Supervisory Personnel and the Union of Schools and Allied Workers. Councillor quits as head of MMC Finance Committee. The chairman of the Finance and the Planning Committee of the Manchester Municipal Corporation yesterday resigned with immediate effect, dispraising the leadership style of Mayor Donovan Mitchell. I am unable to continue in the position as your conduct represents a travesty of good governance and effective leadership, Dalton Brown, who is also the councillor of the Alligator Pond Division, said in a letter to the mayor. Brown moved further to describe the chairman of the MMC as being prejudicial in his approach. You are prepared to ride the four horsemen of calumny, fear, ignorance, bigotry, and smear to achieve your objective and not necessarily those of the Manchester Municipal Corporation, the letter stated. Brown told the news that his decision came on the heels of an unfavorable series of events during Thursday's sitting of the committee. Upon examining the outcome, in no way could I, in good conscience, continue as chairman of the committee, added Brown, who had been chairing the Finance and the Planning Committee for approximately 3 years. He, however, remained tight-lipped as to the events pushing him to quit, indicating that it would go against the principles of confidentiality which he stands by. Earlier this year, there was seemingly a breakdown in the relationship between Mitchell and the councillors in the MMC, leading him to submit a resignation letter as chairman. The resignation was subsequently withdrawn. In the letter, Mitchell indicated that the councillors had seemingly lost confidence in him and his leadership. However, Brown indicated that his decision to vacate his post yesterday was not based on Mitchell's past actions. Neither was it a representation of a personal attack on Mitchell, he added. That resignation and the subsequent withdrawal on his part would have been a knee-jerk reaction based on a matter pertaining to the municipal police, said Brown, adding that Mitchell's posture was an overreaction. Brown reiterated that he will not be seeking re-election in the upcoming local government elections, which are due by February 2022. I would have now served my era for 4 full terms. After an assessment of my situation and where we, the People's National Party, are politically as a party, I have made a decision that I want to explore other options available for me. It's a personal career choice, he told the news. Jamaica College Board refers Royal Reid leave issue back to Education Minister. The Board of Jamaica College has referred the controversial matter involving Royal Reid's special leave to Minister of Education Favour Williams. During a board meeting on Thursday night, the members deliberated on recommendations submitted by the Ministry of Education on how to deal with the issue of extending special leave with full salary and benefits to Mr. Reid, who still holds the post of principal at the Jamaica College.
So essentially, the board, having deliberated, approved a recommendation or voted on it unanimously to send to the minister with firm recommendations that are working recommendations as it relates to dealing with matters related to oil rig. So the board did send to the minister last night very recommendations for action. So the board now awaits the minister's response to those. So that's pretty much where we're at, and as much as we can share. Unfortunately, I'm unable to share the details of those recommendations at this point because the minister should be allowed the opportunity to deliberate and share that with whether it's the Prime Minister or her cabinet, because Mr. Reid special leave in November 20. And it must be noted that the board of the school does not wish to be forced into approving any special leave for the return of Mr. Reid. So these must be noted as some of the key considerations of the board. And we, by August 5, sent that request to the Ministry of Education, to the Minister, for guidance. And during that time, between August 5 and October 25, we have been in discussions with the Ministry, who at the time when we first engaged in the discussions, agreed to put together a team that would put proposals to her, a team from her ministry, including the Permanent Secretary, that would put proposals to her that we understood would have needed to be vetted, so to speak, by the Attorney General, and then for her to take the Cabinet for approval, and then to be communicated to the Board of the School for execution.
Police awaiting autopsy as probe into mentally ill man's death continues. The police are awaiting an autopsy report to determine the circumstances that led to the death of a mentally ill man who was found lying in a pool of blood under a bus shed on Manchester Road yesterday. The police named the man as Brenton Kogel of Beltline, a community southwest of Mandeville. Head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Lloyd Darby said passers-by stumbled on Kogel's body about 7:45 a.m. and called the police. The body had what appeared to be a wound to the head. Kogel's brother Billy told the news yesterday that despite his attempts to take his sibling off the street, Brenton would always leave home. More time me see him, me take him off at the Mandeville town and have him round me same way. Him come way because him head sick, said the distraught brother. Billy said he got a call to identify his brother's body, which was about 80 meters from the intersection of Mandeville and Midday roads. Right now me feel weak because of my brother. I feel know say him die and I don't know if him do people a road nothing. Me know him as a man when I come home. He's a sick man. Him prefer upon the Mandeville side, said Billy. Councillor Jones Oliphant of the People's National Party Mandeville Division said Kogel's death was quite unfortunate. He described Kogel as cool and quiet. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.